My father started the trucking business, of course, right after the Depression. I said maybe I started a little bit early, but I can remember at about 3 years old getting in a bobtail oil truck and knocking it out of gear and running over my little tricycle. And I drove a potato chip truck. I had a potato chip route with another guy in business when I was 14 years old. Didn't have a driver's license then, but and I made deliveries all over Graham Rim, Dubach, and all the surrounding towns. It was a 14-year-old.
I've heard stories that my grandfather would tell my father, we need to get a truckload to Baton Rouge, and my dad would be 12 or 13 years old and go jump in the truck and take a truckload to Baton Rouge. I think the statute of limitations is probably run on any crimes that may be committed. But
so he was quite an athlete.
Oh, I wouldn't say he was quite an athlete, but I'd say that he was a better than average athlete. Okay. He was an excellent softball player. The big problem we had with him playing softball is he played in the very best clothes that he owned. A pair of brand spanking new pants and a beautiful shirt, and he's sliding and tearing up his pants and blaming me for it.
A few years back, he and my sister were out walking at the Tech track, and he told my sister that he used to be a track star in high school, and that he could probably jump over that hurdle. And my sister says, "I don't think you can jump over that hurdle, Dad." And he said, "Well, watch me."
I was saying, "James, don't do it." And Catherine was saying, "Dad, you know you're really too old to do this, to try this." "Oh, I can do it." And he ran and he jumped over it, and he's laying on the ground with his foot hanging off his leg. And he was saying, "I'm so stupid, I'm so stupid."
I don't know that I would characterize him as a great athlete, but a very confident person.
If you were to poll the 500 or so people who worked for him, every single one of them would have something positive and good to say about him. He's met with presidents. He sits on boards. He's up there with the intellectuals. And yet, if a truck driver who may have a third-grade education comes into his office, he can get right on that level and speak with him, communicate with him, work out any problem.
He has the highest energy level of anybody that I've ever known. He just has a tremendous energy level, which enables him to keep going through all hours of the night. So you put all of those things together, along with his willingness to take risk. You know, there have been times in James's business career, and he'll be the first one to tell you this, that he's been highly leveraged. Highly leveraged. So he was willing to take those big risks because he had a vision of what the reward would be on the other side.
I ski with my kids today. I still think I can out-ski most of them.
He's always been a great provider for us, and not just in material things, but he's always provided us with love and support.
Even if he was working, we could come and we'd be playing in his office, and every now and then he might tell us to quiet down just a little bit if he was on the phone, but he was always real open with us and allowed us to watch him at work or whatever he was doing. He pretty much let us be there.
I remember, gosh, I guess my kids were 4 or 5 years old. I told my secretary, I said, "Look, the biggest deal I got's my kids. If they call, put them through." But they knew if they rang me, they got me.
I'd say really the most important things that I've learned from him about how to be generous towards people, and he's the goal to. He's put the goal up there for us to shoot for. It's a pretty hard one to attain, but he's put the standard. He's challenged us just as he used to challenge us in athletics. He's challenged us with how to live our lives also.
He is a kind and generous man. As many will tell you, he has performed random acts of kindness throughout all of these years, most of which are not known.
And he chooses not to let anyone else know about it. It is not done for that purpose. It is done to help the people. And I think, you know, I think the Lord would look down and say, well done, good and faithful servant, because he has lived that kind of life.
What do you do? A house burns down. A mother comes to the office and says, I have no money for milk for the baby. I have no diapers. I have no place to stay tonight. He gets him a room at the Holiday Inn until he can see what can be done. It's unreal.
I just think, you know, this comes through some blessing that we've gotten, and if you're blessed, I think you kind of need to share the blessing.
I would describe him, first of all, as a very successful individual, but as a unique successful individual, as one that cared. And I think that sums it up. James Davison cares about people.
He's always provided us a lot of material things and comforts, but he's also taught us what's important, and I think that's what you really keep with you. I think if you don't have that, all the other stuff doesn't really matter. But
I think, you know, for my children and for everyone else's children, I think he serves as a great role model, you know. I love him.
James Davison is, to sum it up, he's a man who loves God. He's a man who loves this community. He's a man that loves Louisiana Tech University, and he is a man who loves and cares for his family.
I hope that I can be close to the father that he was to me, to my children.